There's a church. There was a church pastor. We ran so hard, I tell you, I ran up, and I touched the doorway of that church. I grabbed a hold of that church doorway, and it felt like I took a step down. Because it felt like I run so fast, maybe I run off the ground. I don't know. I'll tell you what, I was like this Dr. Chazzer. My knees was breaking. I mean, something was going on. I didn't know what. I was scared. I didn't know God was answering my prayer. I didn't know God was having mercy upon me when He should have killed me. I didn't know. I could have been like Dr. Chazzer. All He would have had to do was come down and go, boom. Because I wasn't worthy of anything else. And I began to panic. Everything went quiet. Everything was gone. We was gone. It was just in the real world, you know. And we're like, and I remember we was holding hands because I had grabbed him. I wouldn't let go. He wouldn't let go. We were both scared to death, you know. And he's like, what do we do? What do we do? No, I was doing that. I go, what do we do? Where do we go? I was scared, man. I was freaking out. I was like, what are we going to do? He's like, I don't know. Let's just walk. So we're walking. Two guys holding hands, walking down the street. I'm going to tell you right now, I never was and I never hope to be, all right? I'm going to tell you what happened in this man's life. We started walking. I don't know how far we got. I don't know. But all of a sudden, out of the sky, a cross. As far as I could see, we was in the one arm of it, just a cross. I can see it today. I can see it. There was a golden ball in the middle with the two arms come together, and it was like a spiritual rubber stretched out to make the cross. That's when I knew it was Jesus. That's when I knew this was Jesus doing this to me. It wasn't Muhammad. It wasn't them guys. It was Jesus. And I'm sitting there, and I remember this claw came back, and it was pushing my head towards the ground. We're still standing there holding hands because, you know, it's pushing us both towards the ground. He kept saying, George, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And I could literally feel his spirit come out of his body. I could feel it. I don't know how, I just could. I could feel his spirit leaving. And if I let the drugs control my mind, he'd start leaving his body. I'd have to bring my mind back. And I could feel him coming back in. He's like, don't let me go. Don't let me go. When we was in the car, it was outer darkness. I could see the darkness. I could see him slipping into the darkness. Dark. And he was screaming for me, George, don't let me go. Don't let me go. I'm like, oh. So here we are, he's pushing me down, and I could see the presence. I could see the cross. I could see the presence. I could see stuff happening in the sky. And I wanted to look. But then I remember the story that they taught me, Pastor. Lot's wife looked and turned into a pillar of salt. I'm telling you, this is what I thought. I thought, ain't no way I'm turning into salt for nobody, buddy. God's honest truth in a man's life. I'm telling you, I thought that in my heart. Today, I wish I'd have looked. I don't think he'd have turned me into salt or he'd have got me earlier. I don't know what I missed. But I could tell it was happening. I mean, I could see it. I could see the movement. I could see the glory of God in there. I could see the presence. And the other thing that was kind of strange was that everywhere I looked, it looked like eyeballs. That's the only way I can describe it. Eyeballs. There's a certain type of angel that the Bible says he has eyes all over his head. I think it's the cherub. Eyes all everywhere I looked. So I could see north, south, east, west. But I seen it. It was like a haze, but I could see it. Eyeballs. I'm telling you, everything we do, everything we say is being solved. The Bible says we have a great cloud of witnesses that are watching us. Everything that is done in secret, the Bible says, shall be brought to light. And I seen it that day. It was like I stepped through a veil. And I was looking out of the spiritual to the physical world as this was going on. But here we are, that thing's forcing me to look down, and he's crying out, don't let me go, don't let me go. And we're standing there. And the cross, I can see it, I see it today. And the cross, all of a sudden this policeman come by. The Bible begins to cry, help me, I'm dying, help me. The police get out, they're running around, they don't see anything. But they're running all through the cross, they don't see anything. His name was Fred Miney. Ask him about it if you ever see him. He's not a police officer now, he'll tell you. He thought I was gone. He thought I was one of the vegetables. But I'm telling you, it was real. And he began to say, what's the matter? We're like, we don't know, you know. So he grabs us and he throws us in the car and he takes us to the hospital. Runs us to the emergency room. And I remember they separated us. I'm sitting in the front entrance of the emergency room. He's sitting in the second room. And I could feel him leaving again. And he starts screaming, George! I said, I'm pulling for you, Bob, I'm pulling. And then I could feel him coming back in. He kept wanting to leave his body. And I kept pulling and bringing it back in. But I remember I sat there. It's real. That's all I could say. It's real. And the police officer's like, I can remember them. They're standing there looking at me, the doctors, the nurses. He's a vegetable. Some still think I'm a fruit. But he's sitting there saying he's a vegetable. But that's what they thought. I'm a vegetable. I tell you what, I've never been so much alive in all my life. I tell you what, that drug, I was as straight as an arrow by that time. How many of you ever heard that movie, Scared Straight? Oh, buddy, I was scared straight, buddy. You know, I might say this might have been, an act of the drugs on my mind if it was for 10 minutes, 3 minutes. But when you're looking at 6 hour stretch, 4 or 5 hour stretch, I'm telling you, God showed up because I cried out. So I kept saying, they didn't realize there's nothing that they could do for us. They searched us for drugs. We got rid of them. You know, I looked at them and I said, I need help. I need help. That's what I told them. I said, I need help. I said, I'm a drug addict. I need help. You know what they did? They laughed at me. I'm the old, they think I'm old in and they laugh at me. I'm telling them it's real. God's real. It's real. This Jesus thing's real. And they're like, so all of a sudden, I don't know how long we were there. I don't know. But they're going to take us up to the station now, trying to get a hold of our parents. We're only 16, so about 17 years old. He was probably 17, 18. So I remember we walked out. I had 2 police officers, had me in each arm, taking him. They're going to separate us. So they started taking Bob to the car. And I started walking to the police car. They was taking me too. And all of a sudden that claw thing came back down. I seen it. They grabbed that car Bob was in. I broke loose. I went right into Bob. I thought, off to the church we go again. I was going to find me another church. We was on the other side of town, but I was going to find one. But when I got to the car, that thing lifted. Floated back into the air. Bob looked at me. He was freaking because he started getting back out of the car. I think he thought, off to the church we go. But he looked at me and said, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. I said, are you sure? No, way sure about nothing at this moment. So then they drove us to the police station. They put me in a little room. I think it was a padded room. Put me in this little room, put him in there. So they're trying to find my dad. They get a hold of his dad, my dad, out drunk somewhere. So they get a hold of his dad. His dad, you gotta know him to appreciate him. Him and his mom wanted to be shot. They blamed me for everything I did back then. Did you hear that? They used to blame me for everything I did. His mom, she didn't like me, Pastor. She wanted to shoot me. Every time we get in trouble, his boy would go to jail. I would always be home. I'd always get away. I'm like, why are you blaming me? I was at home. Man, she'd get mad at me. You liar. She just, oh man, I lose. Anyway, so all of a sudden, his dad come in loud, obnoxious man. He's mellowed out now, but obnoxious man. But here he is. Oh, I could hear it through the walls. Who do you mean my son's uptown holding hands with another man? Queers, he said. I'm telling you one more time, I'm not never hope to be. All right? But I can hear him. He was mad for it, right on the horn. I'm still sitting there. They can't find my dad. I don't know how long I sit there. I don't know. It could have been 10 minutes, could have been 5 hours. I don't know. But it was nighttime, and finally the police officer opened the door, brought me in. He was sitting there. He said, son, like I said, I'm straight now. Son, you gonna be okay? I'm like, it's real, man. It's real. He's like, well, we can't find your dad. He says, so we're gonna let you go home if you're all right. And I'm like, oh man, I'm all right. So they let me go. 17. You think they took me home? They did. I'm probably 10 blocks from my home. I had to go across the river, walk. It was February, it's cold. They let me go, So I'm walking, and I can still see it. I can see the eyes. I can see them. It took me, I don't know how long it took me to walk home, but I can see that. I remember I'm walking across the river bridge, and everywhere I looked, I could see it. Then I went into the house, and my sister was there. Pat, you don't know what happened tonight? Rejected. She didn't believe it. And I remember I'm leaving. I walked outside, and it was all closed. My eyes was closed, and back to the physical. I couldn't see nothing more. Then it was real cold. I went back and got my coat. So then the night went on. The next day, woke up. Bob was at my door. He'd always come over every day. You break it, son. You buy it. So the next day, he come over in the morning like he always does. I always like to sleep. That was up 5 o'clock in the morning. I came for that. But anyway, He come over, and I'm like, what did you think of that? Bad trip, bad trip. Ah, just bad trip. You know how we are. Even when we see, we don't want to believe. The children of Israel seen mighty miracles. They were still destroyed. Why? Because of unbelief. I said, oh, you're nuts. Probably different terms. And I'm like, what do you mean you're bad trip? Oh, you're crazy. Because we both seen the same thing for hours. That was on a Friday night. The vision happened. I went down Monday morning to my probation officer. I was on probation. Always on probation. Long time on probation. I didn't like being on probation. They always made me want to come and see him. I went down there. My wife just met this man. This was, a month ago? I was 17. I went in there. I said, Don, I didn't even go to my regular visits, let alone making my home visit. And he's looking at me real strange. I said, Don, I'm in trouble. I said, I sell dope for a living. Boy, his eyeballs went out. Immediately he could have grabbed me, had me a dope test, sent me to jail, reform school. He had me. I went to him, I said, I had a problem. I said, I sell dope, I do dope, I don't want to do it no more. I said, I need help. I sell it, I need a job, can you help me? And he's looking